Welcome to the Leadership Purpose with Robin podcast. I'm your host, Robin L. Owens, PhD, and this is where we dive in each week to give advice, tools, and tips for high-achieving women leaders, and we talk about leadership purpose and its importance for you. I am a college professor, and when I am not doing that, I am speaking, writing, coaching, mentoring, and teaching high-achieving women leaders how to find, and not only find, but how to stay in alignment with their leadership purpose so they can make a meaningful difference right there in their career, leadership, or business. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin. You know, I appreciate that you take the time out of your day and your work and your life to spend time and listen in. And today we will be talking with Lydia Knorr. And let me tell you a little bit about Lydia. Lydia helps people get to the heart of what they truly value. And she empowers them to embody a whole health approach to living that results in a thriving, purposeful, and fulfilling existence. She's a contributor to the book, Ignite Your Inner Spirit, learning the skills to awaken to and connect with the most important part of you. Lydia has over 25 years in the health and wellness industry as a registered dietitian, with the greatest part of her career working in media. Following some pivotal life experiences that included being widowed without warning, navigating cancer, and a period of unhealthy coping mechanisms, Lydia began to incorporate a holistic approach to well-being that focused on the health of her body, mind, and soul. And the benefits she realized prompted her to create a signature program. And it's called Discover YOU, Your Own Uniqueness. And she delivers keynotes and workshops in the area of personal growth and connection to self and positive change. And she's an all-around fabulous person. Welcome, Lydia.
Wow. Thank you. That was amazing. What an awesome intro. Like I almost feel like I'm going to disappoint after that. That was so amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If I'll just dive a little deeper into what you just shared with everybody. I was a registered dietitian for 25 years. So health and wellness were always at the forefront of how I lived my life. I walked the talk. And through the course of a personal life that wasn't so great at times, it just sent me down a different road. It sent me down a road of looking to nourish more than just my body, but to nourish my body, mind, and soul. And that started with a call that I received at 3:00 in the morning back in April of 2013 while my husband was traveling on business, and he died in China. Completely unexpected, no forewarning, no health issues, just heart stopped. And he was gone. Yeah. And so that sent me on a really interesting path, because what happened within the early hours of receiving that news, Robin, was I had this overarching sense of gratitude that came over me, right? And it was immediate. It was almost immediate. And just this sense of connection to him and this cup full of love, and I didn't know what was happening here. I wasn't in shock. I knew what had happened. I was real to the news, but I thought, wow, like I'm just feeling such a deep connection and so much gratitude. That was sort of where my heart went, my mind went, where everything went. And I thought, there's something bigger at work here in your life. There's something here helping you get through and guide you through this journey, because, in my former life, even though it was great, I was always searching for that something more. There was some restlessness I'd been feeling within me, and I knew there was something more I was meant to be doing with my life. And now I've got this devastating news to deal with, and I'm feeling gratitude. So I thought I really want to explore what this is. And I had some signs, I started doing a lot of reading about what happens when people die. And I had some signs, some definite things that led me to believe that I was really connecting to the energy from the other side, specifically my late husband's energy. And I really wanted to covet that. I wanted to hang on to it and connect to it on a deeper level. So I started spending a lot of time on my own in nature, just getting really quiet and trying to be present. Because what would happen was when I was present and I wasn't thinking about everything I'd been through, and I wasn't worrying about what was unknown to me in terms of the future, I realized I was peaceful. And that was such an awakening for me, because that finding my inner peace was the missing piece for me. It was that thing, that something more that I was searching for. And I realized that I had an opportunity where in my former life as a dietitian, I had done a lot of work in media, as you mentioned, and I spoke from a stage and I loved engaging with people. But now I realized that I had a different message I wanted to share. I wanted to share a message about turning inward, doing the work on the inside, discovering who you truly are and living from that place and aligning with the things that you value and that are important to you so that you can live authentically. And that no matter what you do in your lifetime, whatever your roles are, be it personal or professional, you can show up in the best version of yourself. So that became the work that I did. Yeah. And that's the work I do today.
Yes, that's a powerful story, Lydia. And
Thank you.
For you to be here and to share your message with such strength and grace after going through that is absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you so much. And you know, the thing is, the journey isn't linear, right? You know this, and we know life isn't linear at all. It has its ebbs and flows. And so I felt very strengthened from that discovery, that revelation that I found, and that connection to something that felt bigger than me, something unseen, and yet that I knew was inherently within me. And so as I was going out and speaking and sharing my story with people, and it was getting momentum, and people were saying, yeah, I want more of that too, I started creating this program called Discovering You. And then I hit a brick wall when I was diagnosed with cancer a year and a half after my husband died. And in that space of time, in the course of 9 months, I went through 2 pretty major surgeries and follow-up treatment. And the cancer was in the area of my throat. And you have to understand that, I've already had this spiritual awakening, and I know this is a message. This is a message to stop overthinking how you want to let this unfold. And you just need to go out there and share your story, which led me to speak on any stage that was available, any platform, be it a live stage, be it a virtual, be it on the page, which is why, I was authored in a book called Ignite Your Inner Spirit. Everything has a way of lining up when you recognize what your purpose is and you just open yourself up to whatever those opportunities might be. But the interesting twist of the story, and I think it's really important to share because I don't want it to be an all good news story. She found her spirit and then, life was perfect. Right. Life isn't linear. And as great as getting out there and sharing my story was, there were 2 things that happened. One is that you're telling the story over and over and over, and sometimes it gets hard to hear it yourself. It weighs you down emotionally. It's draining. And what I found was I was strong by day, but by night, all the walls came down. And that's when I turned to the unhealthy coping mechanisms. So my best friend became the wine bottle for a lot of years. And I think it's a very natural thing to do, not just in the course of going through difficult stuff, but in life, because life is a challenge. And sometimes we turn to those mechanisms because they're our shut off button, right? They're the way we just shut everything out and just remove ourselves from the realities of life. So there was this whole, up and down journey for many, many years for me of being steady by day and unsteady by night. But that spirit within kept telling me, how do you want to show up? What is it you really want to do with this lifetime? What's your core values? What are the things that you align with that make you really strong and purposeful in the way you live your life? And, it was a really easy decision. I just said, if I want to live authentically, my message is to live as authentically as you can, then this is how you have to do it. And it was really easy for me to literally wake up one day and say, I've kind of had enough of, this one little piece of my life that just doesn't fit with the rest of the puzzle. So let's make it all work. But, it's not linear. But what I would say was my saving grace. And it's the one thing that I would absolutely tell anybody in whatever they're going through in their lives, whether it's personal or professionally, and just trying to be strong. Align with what it is you value the most and bring that into your life as often as you can. And that sounds easier than it is because our values shift over time. As life pivots and ebbs and flows, our values will shift as well. So you really need to do a recheck with yourself and understand what it is that's working for me and what are the things I really align with right now. And then how do I bring that into my life? Yeah. And we hear people talk about this all the time. Like I've listened to other podcasts. In fact, I think one of yours as well. And we are hearing people speak about aligning with your personal core values all the time. And the more I hear it, the more it affirms for me that this is the work that people need to be doing to be strong in what they do, to be able to show up in the best version of yourself, whatever it is you're showing up for at that moment. You can do that when you know who you are. And when you align with the things you value most, that's when you're stepping into your most authentic self. And that's when you're showing up in a way for yourself and for everybody else that's healthy and strong and whole. And that's what we all aspire to be, right?
Yes. And I think we're hearing more about it, especially these days, given the past year and a half. People are now going through the changes of life and all that has changed and it continues to change. And they're asking themselves, what really matters to me. And so to your point about hearing people talk about values and kind of affirming and confirming your own work, I think it's a question on the minds of so many more people than it has been in the past. In fact, just yesterday, I got a message from someone who was looking to work with me. And she said, life has turned upside down for her. And what she thought was important is no longer important. And now she's trying to find those things. So, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And you come to this work with all these ups and downs. And it's amazing that you're here and can share your message in the ways that you do. So we appreciate that. So you share your message. You said you felt like maybe you were holding it in and it was time for you to express it. And so you share your message. It sounds like it brings you great joy, but tell us specifically what you enjoy about the work and why.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I like it because it allows me to take the best parts from my former life as a health and wellness practitioner and marry it with the greatest lessons from my personal journey. And that makes the message that I have to share really relevant and really authentic. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. It sounds like because it comes from you, authentically you, the different parts of you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's it. I mean, and that's how discovering you came to be, because I discovered me. And that was huge. And I realized that there are just so many people out there who are in the same situation. And it doesn't have to be on the heels of traumatic events in your life. It can just be through whatever. It can be because, the kids have left the house and you're an empty nester and you've spent so much of your life and focus on them and on everybody else. And all of a sudden you say, who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? So it's a very natural thing to happen in life. And, I think we all deserve to know who we are and to live a life that feels real and authentic and rooted in something that we value, just our own, without anybody else's influence.
Yes. Yes. I'm working hard to stay focused here because I can go off into 10 different directions, but I won't do that to you or our listeners. Okay. So let me just continue on with what we have here. All right. And you said a little bit about this, but this podcast is for what I call high achieving women. And what I mean by high achieving women, leaders, anyone who influences others, but you have goals and ambition and that kind of thing. So high achieving women. You gave us what's another word of advice you would give for high achieving women or anyone who's listening to the podcast right now?
Well, it's still an extension, essentially, of what we talked about a few minutes ago. And I would just say, be so rooted in and grounded in who you are that nobody can disturb your inner peace. If you're able to find that inner peace, that place of inner peace, AKA align with what you value, live authentically, then you're going to be able to manage and navigate all of the things that you have to, be it personally or professionally, but you're going to do it in a way that, doesn't mean that you're not going to get stressed or bothered by them, but you're not going to fall apart.
Yes. Yes. And inner peace, that's my definition of success. When people say to me, what's your definition of success? And for me, it's to have inner peace the vast majority of the time in my life. Okay. So let's move on to, again, 12 more things want to come out of my mouth related to that, but let's stay focused here. This is me telling myself, let's stay focused. All right. So as you know, my work has to do with leadership purpose, and part of it does include values and recognizing that and kind of connecting with who you really are. But for our conversation today, when I say the term leadership purpose, what comes to your mind?
It's, as you said as well, it's about what you value and how you bring that into all aspects of your life, including the workplace. So, it doesn't mean pushing your opinions, or if your values, let's say, are centered around health or whatever they're centered around. It doesn't mean that you're trying to influence others in the workplace of that. It means that you bring that into your life in a way that allows you to show up energetically, well, just in a manner that makes you healthy and energetic and able to receive whatever comes to you in a way that's healthy. So, it's living in alignment with the things that you value so that you can show up well for other people. And people resonate with that and they'll pick up on that. People want to be around people with good energy. So when you align with the things that you value, and that's to me what leadership purpose is, it's about leading from a place of health and well-being.
And it sounds like you've answered this question, but let me ask anyway. Is leadership purpose important to have? And if so, why?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. Yeah, for sure. If you honor who you are and what grounds you and centers you and guides you, you'll have a sense of confidence in yourself and you will approach everything with a really healthy perspective.
Yes, yes. And of course, I agree. Of course, I would. Right. Okay. Lydia, this has been a wonderful conversation. Uh, People might be asking, well, how can I hear more about her? Or how can I get in touch with her? And what would you say to them, to the people who say, I want to hear more about Lydia Knorr?
Oh, I'd say please do go visit my website at lydiaknorr.com. You're going to learn about all of the programs I offer, which again are centered around core values work. I have some workshops centered around journaling and the practice of getting your story down on the page. I do some little workshops on grief as well, having been through that experience myself. And you can also buy my book, Ignite Your Inner Spirit. And if you buy it, you can buy it on Amazon as well. But if you buy it on my website, I will sign a copy and send it to you. And it is an incredible read. There are so many beautiful stories of people's revelations and transformations through aligning with their inner spirit. So it's just such an uplifting book. And and then on my Instagram at Discovering You, Facebook, Lydia Knorr, and all of my social media handles again are on my website at lydiaknorr.com.
Okay, Lydia, that sounds wonderful. And when you say the book, Ignite Your Inner Spirit, I just imagine people reading and being inspired by the stories of others.
I can't even tell you how inspired I was by the other stories. So yeah, it's a super read.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Thank you again for taking time and sharing with us. This has been so insightful and inspiring. And I want to congratulate you for continuing the work that you're doing in the midst of all your journey in the past. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, everyone, this is the end of our episode today. And if you want to know more about me, you can contact me at robinlowens.com, or on social media, Robin L. Owens, PhD, Robin L. Owens, PhD. And I'll be happy to hear from you. This is all for now. Until next time, this is Dr. Robin. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Leadership Purpose with Robin podcast. If you enjoyed it, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and I can't wait to hang out with you again soon. Meanwhile, this is Robin signing off. See you next time.